Cup to cup.
Oh yeah.
We have a very special guest today. I'm getting right into it. I'm too hyped for this to even fucking chill out. All right. I'm a shark freak, and we got a shark connoisseur, a shark expert, shark conservationist, shark badass motherfucker, Dickie Chivell. What's up, Dickie?
What's up, guys? Firstly, dude, what the intro? Who made that? I was like, that's sick,
Jason, yeah.
dude. It's so sick. I love the old school and the beat. What's up, guys? Thank you very much. I just want to say thanks for having me on, man. It's awesome to be here. It's really nice. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. Oh, Jason's here too, by the way.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
We had to record kind of during the day because Dickie's off. He's traveling the world. Where are you right now, Dickie?
Dude, I am actually home now. I'm flying out on Sunday again, but I am at home in South Africa. Like, I live on the very, very tip of the African continent. Like,
okay.
Yeah, so that's 7 hours for everyone there. I had to do the math. I told Dickie like 7 times. I'm bad with math. I got to figure out this time zone difference. That's 7 hours difference from us. So our boy Chase will be with us later on in the episode. But for now, I took a long lunch break from work. My boy Kevin was already off today, so it was perfect. So we're like, Dickie's leaving. I talked to him yesterday, and you're leaving. I think you're going to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, dude. So Saudi Arabia, first Kenya, because I'm doing you're supposed to quarantine. They're not really open for South Africa, so you're supposed to quarantine for 2 weeks in a hotel. But we're going to a place where maybe we don't have to do that, and then flying over to Saudi, chilling there for a while, working with some sharks. So I'm keen for that. The Red Sea is always epic.
Nice. So I just wanted to keep everybody up to date, because that is why we're recording now without Chase. But Kev, before we start talking sharks, man, do you have a fun fact?
I do. All right.
I'm excited.
It's got to be shark related, and I know Dickie probably knows this, but a lot of people may not know this. Sharks don't have bones.
No.
They're completely, cartilaginous. I don't know how to say a word, but they're.
Is that
they're when you see sometimes you see shark jaws, a big huge great whites or something. I was like, oh, they got bones. No, they ain't got no bones.
No, dude. They're cartilaginous, if I'm saying that correctly. Cartilaginous fish. But that's why always the megalodons and stuff. That's why only the teeth survive. So that's why there's no shark bones. It's not like they're finding a prehistoric shark bone, but they always find the teeth, because the teeth obviously they survive, but the cartilage doesn't stay over time.
That's crazy though. That's crazy to me. I mean,
Dickie's
cool.
no big deal.
He's everybody knows that, bro.
But yeah, so dude, awesome fun fact. Obviously, I feel like I've probably seen that 13 times on Discovery Channel, and I probably never remember it, because I honestly did not remember that fact. But like I told Dickie, man, to break the ice, we got to play some Florida, man. And him and I had some choice words about how crazy Florida was yesterday when we started talking about the podcast. So it was only perfect for us to play Florida Man before we start diving into some sharks.
Let me just say, I think it's fucking hilarious that somebody in South Africa knows what Florida Man is, by the way.
Dude, it's all over. You guys are all over the world, man. I think everybody. I don't think it's just South Africa. Florida people are fucking nuts. They're crazy. It's always
not always in a good way.
No, not always in a good way. Always when somebody does something ridiculous, it's it's Florida, obviously.
Yeah.
Dude, to show you guys the extent of this, there's a game we play sometimes between mates of us that you Google your date of birth and your birthday and then put Florida Man in it and then see what comes up. Like I think on my birthday, somebody like a Florida man threw somebody with a cat or something the last time. Oh, I have to go check, but it's ridiculous. So that's actually a game that we play.
I
like
now I
that.
want to play this game.
I like this game, man. I like this game. All right. So on that note, let me hit the intro to Florida Man, and we will play.
Okay, cool beans.
All right. Let's pull the phone up and read this one, bro. So this one is out of Manatee County. Florida man accused of smashing blank into wife's face during argument. What do you think this Florida man smashed into his wife's face?
A chocolate chip like cookie, because he was probably like, yeah, dude, I wanted vanilla cookies. Like, you made chocolate chip? Bah! And he probably knocked her in the face. Well, that's the guess. That's what I'm guessing.
I like it. I like
that's a
it.
good one.
No, that's a
I'm
good
going
guess,
with
man.
that.
Something that came immediately to mind is a fucking watermelon. So like he just like smashed her face in with a watermelon. Yeah.
Oh,
It
all right.
it won't
So
surprise me, but that's fucking rough, man. That's
How
really
would it
rough.
hurt? That would
hurt.
hurt.
It would hurt.
So you guys were correct in the fact that it was food, but it was a Taco Bell burrito that he smashed into her face.
Why didn't I think of that? A burrito.
A burrito,
Golly.
man.
Dude,
I
love
feel like that's
burritos.
less
Why-
painful, man. It's less painful than a cookie and a watermelon. So
Yeah, watermelon's
Yeah.
painful.
It
Yeah.
could be worse. It's a wasted burrito, dude.
For sure.
Burritos
That's the
are
number
delicious.
one.
definitely.
Fun fact. Fun fact. Burrito is, dude, I think my chick told me this like a few days ago because we were making burritos. It's tiny donkey. I think burrito like directly translates to tiny donkey because it carries donkeys. They use donkeys to carry stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, burrito is a tiny donkey because it takes so much stuff inside of it. Yeah,
I'm no longer calling a burrito. Now I'm calling it tiny donkey for
tiny. Yo, you
For
want to
sure.
get a tiny donkey later?
Yeah, I just smashed the tiny donkey, bro. It was so good.
yeah.
All right, so man, I usually give like an in-depth research on Florida Man, but I honestly don't give a shit anymore about Florida Man. I want to dive into sharks. I want to dive into you, man. So to kind of open up and kind of explain to people who don't know who you are, who haven't watched Shark Week on Discovery Channel,
Okay.
you are deemed a crazy shark expert, and I have a soundbite to kind of prove that. And like I told you before, man, my wife is the biggest fan of yours, man, because you make Shark Week actually interesting and fun to watch. And
That's
so I
awesome.
wanted to
Thank
pull
you.
this soundbite just so people can understand how other shark experts kind of see you, man, which is dope.
Cool. Thank you, dude. You guys are so
I'm willing
nice.
to do whatever it takes to bring that shark up to the boat. I do crazy stuff, but it's always sort of calculated, and I try to minimize risk. Dickie seems to want to maximize risk.
So is that true, man? Is that you just like to maximize risk when you
Well-
swim with the sharks?
Well, dude, not necessarily maximize the risk. Jeez, Andy. That's a good mate of mine. But always taking calculated risks, but pushing the limits for sure. One thing that's really that allows me to do what I do is remembering that, and I think a lot of people forget this sometimes, is that sharks aren't malicious. Like, they're not just out there to chow you. I'm not promoting, like, I'm not saying you should go swim with the shark if you see one. Obviously, we're taking a lot of things into account, but the sharks are not, you're not their prey source. So, not maximizing risk, but also I sometimes do dumb stuff. So, calculated risks, and I think a little bit of luck. Like that the first thing I did for Shark Week where I was on that board, like
What the
I
hell were you
remember
thinking, man?
distinctly sawing where I made Parthenope, that thing that moves like a shark. I remember distinctly seeing that footage, forgetting it was me, and I'm like, who's this dumb guy? Like, who's this? Who's this idiot? And then I'm like, fuck, that's me. Like, what? So, not maximizing risk at all, but taking calculated risks, I would
Yeah.
say.
I mean,
and
Sorry,
Kev, go.
no, I got a list of things here, Jay.
okay.
So, I mean, you went in the ghost cage, which is kind of just like a clear ghost cage. The door handle busted on this thing. You're fighting off sharks with your hands. You also trailed behind a boat. on like a little trolley almost.
Yeah.
You literally were like bait, like, but you had a camera on so you could see the giant great white shark breach right in front of you. And the one you were talking about, I think, was when you laid flat on like a decoy shark,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and then like got off, and then the shark like destroyed that decoy, which you were laying on 2 seconds ago. Uh,
Dude,
and
dude.
then you were present when the mega shark, the giant, I believe it was pregnant shark, rolled on through, and man,
I can literally tell you the coolest things never the not necessarily the coolest, but the wackest things never make it on TV. I'm just gonna go down the list with the stuff you just mentioned. Like with the ghost cage, I did it at night as well, and the surge was so hectic, bro. The door that was broken actually ended up breaking off completely. And I remember like distinctly like holding it like this with hectic surge, and the sharks, you could only see them once they're like this close. So that I bailed. I just like I don't like littering, but I just busted. I just threw the door and I just bolted to the boat. I was like, this is not a good idea. And that board you were just talking about, like I thought because it moves like this, okay,
right.
cut the rope because it's gonna stay behind the boat, you know, like it no it didn't. Like it instantly just mission off. And the boat we were on filming on was on anchor, Bruce. So that thing mission off instantly, and I'm at water level, so I can't see the sharks. And they're just like, Dickie, the sharks are with you. They're not here. And I'm like, where? I can't see them. When Chris Fellows actually had to get like a little boat and come save me like 200 meters down where the sharks are just chilling with me. So all that stuff never makes it onto TV like that.
Yeah.
That interesting. What was the other one?
insane.
Oh, that goes the Hornet where we did that three-way breach. That was also that was it was crazy getting that breach, but because I couldn't see what the guys on the boat were doing,
Yeah.
and I had a full face mask on in order to get communication with the guys. But a full face mask is not like a normal regulator. Once you rip that regulator out, it's not easy to get it back. So my reg ripped out. I'm like, I have to film because Murphy's Law, you know, at the end of the day, the second you don't film is the second the shark will breach. So I'm
Obviously.
almost drowning, and then I just feel these tugs, and I thought they sank the boat. At one stage there, I was like, okay, I'm expecting to get pulled down because I thought the boat's going down, and I'm just gonna end up with it. And then we got that breach, and it was just, dude, surreal. It was absolutely
How it seemed like it was
crazy.
hot. The vision was kind of crazy with that, because like, I mean, you got like the wake from the boat like smashing you in the face almost. It seemed like.
Dude, the drag was actually intense, like a lot more intense than I expected it to be. It was that thing was, dude, it was incredibly difficult, but the invention was there, and theoretically it worked, and then we proved that it works. So if it works, no matter how difficult it is, like we wanted that three-way breach, that was the mission, because it had never been filmed before, like from the bottom to the surface and then with a drone. So you're getting a complete perspective of a shark breaching from all different angles. And dude, that shark,
It was
like,
massive.
did you guys see that
Yeah.
breach? That shark. I spent days looking for that shark, and that was just like a leviathan, man. That's one thing about sharks that's so incredible, especially sharks that's that size.
How
Is
big was it?
dude, that's a 5 meter shark easily. I you guys probably work in feet. I'm not sure what that
Yeah.
is in feet.
I'm gonna
But
Google it because I
the
have no
true
idea.
leviathans, man, the really big sharks, they you don't see them all that often, and when they come, they show themselves and then they cruise again. So that shark, I've never seen it before and I've never seen it again. That was just like, it came, it conquered, and it left. And it eludes me till this day. Just like when it fell back into the water,
Yeah.
staring straight into my face, it was a moment like I'll never forget. I was like, oh, Oh, that
Do you,
happened.
do you
That's
feel
brutal.
when he's he or she, I don't know what kind of shark it was, but when it's coming straight up right in front of you, do you feel that force where you were, or not really because you were kind of moving, huh?
I can tell you from at that time, no, I didn't feel it. There was too much going on,
Yeah.
the drag and everything, so I couldn't feel that. But we've had at the shark cage diving boats, we've had big sharks come, like
Yeah.
also a shark like that, a 5 meter shark. And when it will go for a bait line, dude, you feel that energy. Like imagine a 5 meter white shark, like a massive
Yeah.
predator, like a jaw extension, fully out, like full on out of the water in front of you. You can feel that energy. It demands incredible respect. Like
For sure.
everybody, like after something like that, everybody's quiet for a while it's happening.
Yeah.
Everybody's like wow, 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 and then there's that moment of silence. Like, did we really just experience that? Like, did we just see that? And I always try and tell people, like, it's 1 in 1,000 times that you see something like this. I mean, we're
Why is it
dude,
so rare? That was like my follow up. It's like why, like you say, like that you see them and then they disappear forever, or like for a long period of time. Like, so why is it just mating? Is it just where they're feeding? Is it just all kinds of stuff?
Dude, sharks are in trouble, man. It's
Yeah.
becoming more and more rare. If I can give you guys an example, in 2010, I could go out and see 18 to 20 different white sharks here in South Africa. I'm at Dyer Island, which is known as the great white shark capital of the world. It's got Shark Alley, which is the McDonald's drive-through for great white sharks. And now, dude, we haven't seen a white shark in probably a month. And within 10 years, between orcas predating on them and long lines, like our government are just like the worst when
Yeah.
it comes to things like this. We're definitely fighting a lot of cases.
What is long lines? What are long lines?
Long line fishing,
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
those, dude, they are the worst. Well, there's a lot of things that bad, but
Yeah.
they have like kilometers of line just trailing behind the boats with thousands and thousands and thousands of hooks. So if they're not catching sharks, they're catching the sharks' food. They're just taking everything out of the ocean,
Yeah.
like completely, like taking everything out. So not only are sharks food source in trouble, but the sharks are in a lot of trouble, bro. Where you used to see a lot of sharks, you don't see that anymore. It's an incredibly rare occurrence now, where it never used to be. I mean, winter this time, I I would have a lot of sharks around the boat at the moment. And at the moment, we're working with a different type of shark species, bronze whalers, because they've come in the absence of white sharks. It's actually incredible how an ecosystem can adapt and change like that.
What kind of shark is that? I'm
Bronze
not
whaler?
familiar.
Bronze whaler. You can Google it. It's a beautiful shark, but they're more of a schooling species of shark. But when it comes to the raw power of a white shark, they're nowhere near. They're still beautiful, epic to dive with. I mean, dude, especially with the cage, because there's so many of them there, since they're a schooling species and they're right up in your face. But it doesn't give you that awe-inspiring fear factor.
Yeah.
Right.
Not that you should be afraid of white sharks, but it's still thrilling to be in
Yeah,
the water with
yeah,
them,
you
whether you're in a cage or not in a cage. I mean, it's just an amazing animal to see.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
there needs to-
it's like you're not scared of the shark, but you're not about to walk up and try to pet a lion either. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, no, 100% for
You gotta
sure.
be cautious.
I always tell the people, like, dude, keep your hands in the cage, because they're sharks. They're not puppies. They're not. They are
Yeah.
still dangerous. Just because they're not out there to eat you, it doesn't mean stuff can't go south
Yeah.
real fast. Like,
That's
and-
one of Kevin's like bucket list, man. He definitely
100%.
wants to get
No,
in.
it's
get in
number
the tank
one.
in.
It's number one.
Number one to swim with a
Dude,
shark.
on your
Swim or
bucket
be in a
list.
tank.
Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna finish up this podcast and change information, and I'm gonna take you possibly within. I don't know how this COVID stuff gonna work out, but
Yeah.
2021, maybe this year we'll sort it
Yeah.
out, or next year, dude, when everything's a bit more calm. But we'll take you diving with white sharks, and that's a deal. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
will definitely.
My
show
wife will
you
be
white
joining
sharks.
Kevin, man. My wife
Yeah,
will be joining
dude,
Kevin.
and you
Yeah.
too, Jason
Oh yeah,
Payne.
no, I just want to film it, bro. Jason Payne. I just want to film it, bro.
That can be
talking
the
about before
movie.
we
That can be
started
the
recording.
movie, but guys. Before
Yeah.
before we started the podcast, we said like he's got the coolest name, Jason Payne. So that can be the move. Jason Payne faces what sharks or something like that. We'll make it happen.
No,
I like
sounds
it, man.
perfect.
So I gotta ask, man. Like we said before, you aren't your typical shark expert. You're fun as hell to watch. You're the kind of
Thank
guy
you.
that you kind of want to have a beer with after the bar and just chill with. So I'm curious, man. How the hell did you end up getting on Discovery Channel, becoming a shark expert? What drove you into it? How did you do it, man? I gotta know.
Well, bro, life put me in crazy situations. This is not something that I ever thought I always knew I was gonna do something regarding animals. I love animals and I am a nature conservationist by like traits. I live and breathe nature conservation. Like this morning I started off my day by releasing, we have a penguin sanctuary, by releasing a few penguins on back onto the island that we rehabilitated in our sanctuary, and then quickly ran. Dude, I thought I was going to be late for the podcast. I thought I was going to have to call you guys and like, dudes, but a pilot whale washed up like on one of our beaches, so myself, my chick, and one of our biologists had to go like just assess it, check out the situation, and it was an incredibly healthy whale. I have no idea what, there was no causes of trauma. But I'm wondering, Orphea, what was your question again? Sorry, dude.
How did you get into it, man? Like, how did you end up like
how
showing
did I
up
get
like
into it?
Yeah, letting go penguins, swimming with the sharks. You're helping a whale out. Like, how did this happen? You're going to Saudi Arabia, man. You have a sick ass life. It just sounds interesting as hell,
dude. So my dad is actually the real OG. Like he cares more about nature and animals and everything really than anybody I've ever met, and he's incredibly passionate. And when I was younger, he started a whale watching business here. And then, so I've been connected to the sea since I was young. And then that turned into shark cage diving eventually. But how I got, like, I was actually, if you want to know, the first time I worked for like a film set crew thing is I was actually going surfing with a mate. And then I got this phone call. And Discovery Channel ended up being down here filming white sharks in murky water the whole day. And remember that movie Blue Crush?
Yeah,
that surfer movie. So that specific camera, that was like when Phantom cameras was still like the bomb. That was quite a few years ago. And they had this like tin dome housing for this. They flew that camera down here to shoot sharks. And they dropped the dome of this camera in the water. And one of the people on the boat decided to call me and like, yeah, I know somebody. And I went out with this like little boat, and myself and Chris Fallows, who is the master. I mean, Chris Fallows is a legend. He invented towing decoys to make sharks breach. Like, he's the man, honestly, and such a good guy, like a real legit shark conservationist, cares a lot about sharks. So him and I went into zero-vis murky water. And I remember all I had was a broomstick with me. And
literally a broomstick?
Yeah, a broomstick. And to dive out this downpour. And we got it. I mean, obviously nothing happened. It was really cool. And that's how I first got like connected into starting to get to know the guys. When the guys were back, I was like, hey, I've got this really stupid idea. Shark like decoy thing that thing that you were talking about. And after that, I never did anything for like I never wanted to do money. I always wanted, everything that I've done I've had a question and I answer it in a very radical way. Do you understand what I mean? Like all of the things that I do, I always have a question, or I want to show or prove something. In that, if anything, you just prove that sharks are not man-eating mindless machines. Otherwise I wouldn't be sitting here. And then dude, one day my sister, because as you know, Jason, I'm not that good with my phone. I'm not that good. So one day my sister calls me and she's like, dude, why aren't you checking your emails? Like, what? Like, Discovery Channel's trying to get a hold of you. Like, and I'm like, what? And then I just like, I also, and the email just said like, yo, do you want to go to New Zealand? And I was just like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
I would love to. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
And then that's sort of how I got into it, bro. And then, yeah,
Here you are now.
now I'm incredibly, I mean, I consider myself one of the luckiest people in the world to have gotten those opportunities
Yeah.
and worked with the people that I do and go the places I go because I love sharks. And not just sharks, I work with all animals, really, mostly marine life. But
I don't
yeah,
think it's
man.
luck, man. I think that good things happen to good people, and this is this was your calling. This was who you were supposed to be, and I appreciate that.
I thank you, and I don't want to say that. I'm glad you said it because this is my calling. I'm glad you said it, but yeah, dude, I can't imagine me doing anything else. But I'm just feel that I'm incredibly privileged to be one of those people that never work. You know, it's a
Yeah.
cliche
Yeah,
when they
for
say
sure.
if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I mean, obviously, my phone is on 24/7 and like, dude, sometimes when I'm just tired and I want to go home, I get a call that there's a
Yeah.
penguin fucking 5 kilometers down on a beach, and I have to drive for an hour to go fetch said penguin.
Yeah.
So it is a lifestyle choice, but it's a lifestyle. It's not a job.
Right.
It's the way that I live. So it is my calling, and I'm incredibly lucky to say that I do what I love, which is cool.
What? So yeah. Sorry. Go, Kev.
No, I was just gonna say, like, if all this shit that you've done, pardon my language, all the stuff that you've done, that's fuck. No,
I've been
pardon my-
swearing on this podcast, dude. Are we
Jason,
allowed
I
to
said pardon my
swear?
language. Jason
Like-
said. Jason looked at me like, "What the fuck is wrong with
I
you?"
don't know why he's part. You know, we can curse. I have no idea
Okay,
why
dude,
he's.
I don't know
I
why
was
I
like,
said
dude,
it.
I've been swearing since the beginning. I usually tone it down, but I thought today, hey, chilling with
No,
the
no,
boys,
don't
I
tone
might
it
as
down.
well.
That's my
Don't,
fault.
don't tone it down. Yeah. We won't bleep you
Uh,
like Discovery Channel. It's okay.
all the shit
Yo,
that
they
you've
bleep
been
me
through,
out,
all
right?
that shit that you've done, as far as with sharks, like, what the fuck scares you? Does anything actually scare you? Like, I feel like you just jump in the middle of everything.
Or do you like the scare? Like, is that the adrenaline you kind of like dig a little bit?
Dude, I get this sort of like question, obviously
Yeah.
a lot. I think you compartmentalize fear, and when you're in a situation like that, fear is the last thing that comes into your mind, and that's one of the reasons that if you ever swim with a white shark or do anything of the like, you'll know exactly what I mean is that nothing else exists. And it's one of the reasons that it's so incredible is like for that time, this animal has all your attention, this has everything. So you're literally, it's incredible because for that time, you don't feel fear, you don't feel, you're so caught up in this moment that none of that stuff is present. I get scared a lot after I do stuff. Like once I
Really?
jumped in the water with some orcas, and dude, only after the orca, like, it came to check me out, like, and I also once again had a broomstick with me with a little
What's with the
GoPro on it.
broomstick?
What was the broomstick? It's always the closest thing that at hand, like attach a GoPro to it, and it was a broken broomstick. It was this short, so this orca is like chilling right here with me, and I know this thing just massacred like a lot of like large white sharks, him and his mate, like these two specific orcas. And once it left, then I was like, oh shit, dude, now you can't see it anymore. Like, where is it? Like,
Yeah.
dude. And then so a lot of the time, fear after, but you compartmentalize it. You like,
Yeah.
you place it, and yeah, I obviously get scared, but I get scared of stupid things, like
What?
my biggest
Yeah.
fear is a bug crawling into my ear. Like that is that's
That
a
used
no
to
no.
be one of
Bring
my
on the
biggest
biggest
fears.
shark on the planet. I'm keen for that. But dudes, a bug in my ear, I will literally like run to a wall and knock myself unconscious so that I don't have to deal with it. Like that is my biggest all-time fear. Now you guys know.
No, I mean,
did.
hey, I like when I'm laying down anywhere that's not my house, I'm like, I'm a little scared, like something's gonna like crawl
Crawl
up
up in
me,
there?
and like a spider, or a fucking cockroach, or something. Like, you never know, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see all those videos on Instagram and stuff where they're like a doctor's pulling something out of someone's ear because they have
Yes.
an earache, and then they pull it out. There's this giant like cockroach or bug, and I'm like, what? I'm like, Emily, check my ear, check my ears, check my ears.
Dude, exactly. And I've got long hair, bro, so it just
Yeah.
plays in with it. Sometimes my hair will like poke inside my ear, and I'm like, what? Ben, come look at this. I'm in trouble. Something's in my ear. It actually happened to a mate of mine, and he just lived with it. I don't understand. Like, he must be crazy because it was in his ear for like 3 days. I'm like, dude, how?
What?
How do you exist? And he got it out with a vacuum cleaner. Then he was
awesome.
like, I couldn't take it anymore. I was going crazy. So at work, he just like they had an industrial. He was working in the city somewhere, an industrial vacuum cleaner. He just sucked whatever it was out of his head. Like, I wouldn't last that long, dude. I would
That's it.
immediately. I
Oh,
would
for
go
sure.
crazy. That's
He knew it was in there the whole time.
yes, dude. And he
Holy
said it was
shit,
like he
man.
could hear it walking. Like, imagine how intense that is because
No.
it's on your eardrum, so it's got to
No.
be obviously a very intense sound. Like, that makes
No,
me
bro.
like,
I
nah.
just no, bro, because I feel like it'd be crawling around somewhere else. Like it's gonna get past my ear and come out my nose or crawl in my
right.
brain. Like
You're gonna
Yeah.
go to eat something one day, it's gonna pop out of your mouth. You know?
yeah.
yeah,
Nasty.
yeah.
So what's your end game, man, for all of this? We were talking my end game when we were talking prior to the podcast, but like, what's your goal? I know it's conservation, but and I know you have a lot of unique ways of like showcasing that to like viewers and your fans, but like, what's your goal like of it all? Like, what do you want to have happen?
Bro, end game. Firstly, there's a couple of things that I want to do. I really would like to use I can't really say fame that I have because I
Yeah.
don't have fame. I'm like not that, but I want to use the flow of the fact that I'm able to shoot these shows and get millions of views, not by any means by myself. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously I'm just lucky enough to be a part of this thing, but firstly inspire conservation and then change perspectives. You know what I mean? If somebody throws down a piece of plastic in front of you and you yell at them, pick up that piece of plastic, like, they'll pick it up, and then as soon as you turn your back, they'll throw it down again. But if you explain to them why they should pick up that piece of plastic and how it benefits everybody, the next time somebody else throws a piece of plastic, maybe they'll tell them the same thing that they heard, and they heard, and they heard, and they heard. So I would really like to cause just, I don't know if I'll be able to do it by myself, but people do change the world, essentially. And I believe that if we can globally cause a shift in perspective, we can actually change a lot of things.
Yeah.
So that, and what I also really want to do, something that I want to get started on, is take a bunch of fans, start taking people that are hardcore Shark Week fans, because Shark Week is huge in America.
Mhm.
And I know it's huge. Dude, I'm nobody in South Africa. Like, we don't have Shark Week here. So it's actually quite cool. Like,
Really?
Yeah,
Like
dude.
like it's just not a big thing there, or it's just
No,
like
we don't really have Shark Week. Like, or
And what do you
my
mean
shows will
nobody
air
in
like
there?
a few years, maybe they'll be on Discovery, but we don't have. So that's quite cool. But I know it's very, very big in some countries, especially in the States, and some people like take off work for it. And I wanna start, and I'm working on a couple of ideas, like taking those people and just showing them sharks. So
Yeah.
I've got a
Oh my
couple of
God.
ideas on how to do it. Maybe like do a crowdfunding thing where everybody, and then like, but just taking some of the fans and just calling them up and say like, dude, you love Shark Week. I want to take you on an adventure. Come shoot a docky with us, or just be present with us, or we're going diving. So that is something that before changing the whole world, that
Yeah.
first I want to accomplish that, because
I think that's a cool idea, man.
I think truly I am so lucky to do what I would do, and I don't take it for granted. I appreciate it every day, but I truly believe like you can change people's life forever doing something like that, and it's actually so easy and so simple. So that is a current goal that I really want to work on, and then obviously conservation, brew, like eat, sleep. At the moment, sharks are in trouble. Not just sharks, but Earth, marine conservation. There's a lot of stuff, but if I start going down that rabbit hole, we'll be here till tomorrow, and there's a bunch of negative stuff. So I'm gonna try and keep it positive. Obviously,
No,
all of
man.
us know change needs to occur. We all know that the ocean is in trouble, but it's not just the ocean. People are in trouble. Like,
Yeah.
so a massive shift needs to occur, but I don't want to go into the details of why and how and all
Yeah.
that stuff. We all know.
I mean, to piggyback off that though, because I mean, I was shocked. Like, and I'm sure you guys all seen the articles about like when COVID hit, people were they were staying home, they weren't driving that much, pollution was down, water was getting clearer. So I felt like that was an opportunity, like, for people to like, hey, look, like, if you don't believe in climate change, or if you don't believe in pollution, or whatever the hell you don't believe in, like, look at what this did to the environment just by us, like, not driving out all the time, or not commuting all the time and all that. So, like, to piggy off of that, and I'm fine with going negative, because I wish, because most of our listeners are from Florida, so we're around beaches all the time. And we know how much that impacts our economy and our environment. But, like, what are, like, some misconceived, like, perceptions, or however you want to say it, but, like, perceptions on sharks or the wildlife that maybe Shark Week hasn't explained or said, that you kind of, like, thought, like, hey, man, like, these are some things Shark Week say, but, like, there's these things too as well. Like, does that exist?
So I've been badgering bothering the Oaks for years to try and put, and I understand how shows work on Shark Week, but I've been badgering the Oaks to put in, like, conservation as well, but nobody wants a bummer in their story, but at least just, like, be like, this is what we can do. Like what I told you guys in the beginning when we started off, like, what I've seen in a 10-year span, it's 2020 now, in 2010, seeing 18, 20 white sharks in a 4-hour period, to now seeing one every 4 months. Like, dude,
That's insane.
that's seriously hectic. Like, people don't like, it happens that fast. It really happens that fast. And something as small, I can give you guys an example, something as small as, we've got a lot of abalone poaching. Abalone is like a shellfish, and the Asians believe it's also an aphrodisiac. So we've got a lot of poaching there. And kelp, you guys know what kelp is, like seaweed. So this is how one thing impacts another thing. So there's a lot of abalone poaching. Abalone eats the smaller kelp, and it also, the kelp takes up the spot, or the abalone takes up the spot on the rocks where the kelp grows. But now there's no more abalone, so the kelp, which grows, the leaves grow a couple of centimeters a day, or kelp, has taken over so much that it's changed the entire ecosystem, and sharks can't go in where they used to be able to go in. So it's adapted, it's changed literally. So from taking out a shellfish on the one end, too much of that, it's changed an ecosystem where it even affects the apex predators like the sharks and the whales, because now there's just an incredible abundance of kelp. So, dude, being mindful of, and I know you guys have got to, obviously have seen the jokes about, like, why do turtles obviously have straws in their noses all the time? Like, I've seen a couple of memes about that. But I personally have found, like, 3 or 4 turtles with straws in their nose. The stuff like that is real. It's based on real things.
Yeah, that's super sad. But I mean, like you said, like, people don't think about how one thing goes into the next thing, you know, and
that, like, domino effect.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you start
and
on one thing,
this
tastes good or whatever, you know.
Even the trash that you throw into, like, here. So my dad, I told you guys, he's like conservation OG. We have a storm drain project in our town that he started up, where we put nets around all the drains running into the ocean from, like, the town, so it catches everything. Dude, as soon as there's a bit of rain, you have no idea, those things fill up like that, and all the plastic coming from, like, your towns are going into the ocean. As I said, I don't want to be a bummer, and I don't want to focus on the negative stuff, but I always think it is nice to mention. And you asked me to mention some stuff we don't talk about, but it's the stuff that
It's just like the
We
common sense
all
stuff.
know, but somebody has to really remind you again.
Yeah.
Like, dude, this is still relevant. If we
Yeah.
all just do the basics, like we can adapt to change. We don't have to have this new radical thing. It's the basics, bro.
Yeah.
Properly dispose of your plastic, and then you're already making a super big difference.
Yeah.
Don't always take straws. Like when I was in Southeast Asia, those people just like chuck. Whenever you get a drink, they chuck 5 straws. I'm one person, bro. I'm not gonna share my drink with 5 people because I
Yeah.
like this drink. Thank you very much.
No,
But
I respect that,
basics.
man. I think the straw thing, people like. I think one side of it, I get it. Like people are like, I want my old straws back. It's just like, how much is a cardboard straw really gonna fucking hurt
It's
you?
not.
Like just
It's
Yeah.
like I just think some people pick battles and they just want to argue with people. And other people actually understand the positive effects it'll have. I'm a huge turtle lover, bro. Like when I went to we chose my honeymoon to go to Hawaii for the turtles out there because like they'll nest in Florida and they'll drop the eggs and you might see them and hatch, but like the size of those turtles in Hawaii, I was not ready for that. I didn't know they were gonna be that big and in my face, man. So like, I was all on board on just whatever we can do to help turtles out. I get it, man. I totally get it.
It's incredible how large they get, eh? And how old they get. Like,
Yeah.
it's incredible to see them. Same with manta rays. They're also
Yeah.
getting incredibly large. And those large white sharks as well. Like, once you see those animals demand so much respect, man. That's why I
bro.
love to be able to see things like that, dude. Like, when you see something that's cruised the ocean for how many years? Like,
Yeah.
a while back, a mate of mine, like we heard there was a super pot of humpbacks feeding off the west coast of southern Africa, like here. And
Yeah.
we immediately were like, dude, this is not humpback season. We want to go check it out. So we take our boat and we find like 150 humpback whales. It's incredible. They're like porpoising next to the boat, like seals would. And we're in the water and we find this sunfish, dude. That's as big as our boat. I've never seen
What?
something that large. Dude, incredible. And this dude doesn't, I think we called him Barry, and he just came to chill with us, bro. And then we like, a lot of the time they're skittish. And then I just wondered, like, he became our friend. Like, I high-fived him and everything. Like, he would just cruise with us. And also encounters like that. Oh, if you wanted me to mention something like, dude, every animal has a personality. Like, animals have incredible personalities. You do get like this one whale out of all these whales that just like comes to talk to the boat. Like, obviously he's different than all the other whales. Like, he's just like, what up,
Yeah.
bro? I want to try and communicate with you. And it was apparent in that it's like these old school leviathans that have been cruising the oceans. Like, there's stuff in the ocean that's hundreds of years old. They found a bowhead whale with a piece of harpoon in it dating 200 years ago. Like,
What?
dude, what? Like, that's crazy, right?
Holy
That
shit.
is crazy.
That's
man.
crazy.
We had this this python hunter and he was huge in conservation. He said the same thing, that snakes have like kind of personalities and stuff like that too. So like I mean I always assumed they do. I'm a huge like dog lover. Dogs obviously have personalities, but I've never seen it like a stingray or a whale. I mean I've seen Free Willy and stuff, but I never would have like
There's
perceived.
a documentary going on right now, I think, about a guy and this octopus, where he started going down like looking for something particular.
Oh, My Octopus Teacher. Yeah, man. It's out on
Yeah.
Netflix now. That's like in my hood, man. I actually know some of the people that film. I don't know the guy personally, but one of my good friends that I've shot with for Shark Week actually did
Yeah.
some of the footage on that. That's really cool. I have to say I haven't seen it myself, which I
Yeah.
should have. I definitely should have watched it. I've been quite busy. I'll actually do that later. Like, I need
Yeah.
to watch that, but I've heard it's incredibly cool. Like, this guy filming this octopus, following its entire life cycle, getting to know it, watching
Yeah,
it get
they
like
become best
chased by
friends,
stuff.
man.
Like, yeah, they become mates, and this octopus later on gets to know him and stuff. So I also want to watch it. I know
Nice.
about it.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
two things before we get going, Jay.
Yeah.
One thing, with the ghost cage, you fucked up your hand pretty good. And here you are again. Show everybody your hand.
Oh, dude, I heal like crazy. Like my hands
like this
a
guy.
lot better now than it was a week ago when I sent you that pic.
Yo, you
Like,
saved
look
the
how-
baby from a
when
fire.
I sent you that pic to
Yeah.
now, it's healed. Look how it heals. I somehow heal like crazy.
I sent that picture to the boys, and I was like, "Hey, man, he's definitely interested, but he's saving babies in fires." And they're like, "What?" And I was like, "Look at his hand. Your hand was destroyed, bro. Like,
Yeah, dude. So that baby was trying to kill that fire, and I had to put a stop to it.
we appreciate it. I'm sure the mom appreciated that a lot."
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
man, for sure.
What was your other question, Kev?
Mainly when I was a kid, one thing that got me most interested in sharks, very young at an age, my parents gave me National Geographic magazine or National Geographic books, and in one of the books was this giant fucking jaw of a basking shark. Have you ever seen one of those?
Yes, and they
what's
get
it like?
they get incredibly large. I mean, wow, they're like harmless. Bro.
Yeah,
They're-
that's what I
they're
thought.
They're
Is it almost like a
chill.
whale shark? Like it's
Yes,
like,
very,
you don't even have to worry about it.
very similar to a whale shark, but they get huge, dude. It's an intimidating presence being in, like, seeing something that large, and they're also so chilled. It's so cool.
Damn.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, basking
when I
sharks.
saw
But
that,
dude,
I was like,
the
holy
same,
shit.
dude. I saw a photo. I was actually chilling with my mom a couple of days ago, and she pulled out the album with all like the photos. Remember when you still used to develop photos? And she pulled out the album,
Yeah.
and in our town back in the day, bro. This is before I was even born. They caught like a white shark, and dude, no matter how big those basking sharks' jaw was, that white shark jaw that they got from that shark was as big. Like, dude, it is. It's, for me, it's incredibly sad. Like, dude, all the biggest and coolest stuff we as the human race, like, we
out.
killed, man. We wiped it out. Like, even with the whaling, like what I told you guys about how old that bowhead whale got. Like, dude,
Right.
in the whaling days, they took out like, fuck, man, animals that have been cruising the ocean for over 100 years, like these ancient, super huge stuff. That's the things that human would go for first, bro. And the animals have no chance. I
No
mean,
chance,
dude, if you're
yeah.
shooting it with a harpoon.
Yeah.
And it's also like, dude, I could imagine how big white sharks were back in the day. Like the biggest white sharks. I'm sure we killed like the biggest white sharks that we could, because it's also a status symbol, not necessarily killing it for food or for fins or whatever. You get these asshole trophy hunter type dudes
That's what I was saying.
like
For
have
what
somebody
fucking reason?
have a lion tied fucking down, and then they shoot the lion, and then they think they accomplished something. Like, dude, the earth doesn't need people like that. Like, dude,
100%.
not at all. But it's the same with sharks, bro. Like, those people want to say, I killed a white shark, I caught a white shark. And dude, so a lot of our super mega sharks got killed in that way, sadly.
I'm cool if we grab like those guys that want to kill a lion and go on that. I'm cool if we say, yeah, you can do that if you want, but right afterwards, what we're gonna do is get a team of lions, and they get to do the same thing with you. So, and you get to remove the gun. If you want to play like Mother Nature and go kill this lion with a fucking giant gun, I'm cool with letting that lion come after you with a weapon as well. I mean, if we can somehow have the lion hold a goddamn shotgun and shoot you, man. I mean, like, all I'm saying is, like,
go old school, bro.
Yeah.
Like, lock them up with that lion with nothing but a little Bear Grylls knife and like
that should make you feel like a real man. Like that'll do it.
Dude.
So the would you rather I have, and I know we just talked about violence against animals, so this is obviously a hypothetical. Nobody should do this. But I had pulled this for Kevin a long time ago because we were talking about sharks and all kinds of stuff. And since you're here, I feel like you will have the best answer for this. It's crazy, and it blew up on Reddit a long time ago. I think it was like 4 years ago. So the question is, and I have details about the question later too. So would you rather fight a shark out in the ocean with a handgun or fight a bear on land with a bow and arrow? So the hypothetical is each animal will be actively trying to kill you and won't be easily frightened. The bear was trapped with you in a cave, And in the sharks situation, it's at night, in open water.
I don't think you stand a chance in either situation.
Oh yeah, you're dead. You're dead no matter what.
That's a lose-lose. Like,
Yeah, right.
can I take the handgun to shoot myself in my head? The shark with the handgun so I can shoot myself in the face
Just
and just
like,
spare
yeah.
myself the trouble of getting munched by a shark.
Yeah.
Because I think it would be difficult shooting yourself in the face with a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
Because you're losing both of those fights most likely,
Yeah.
unless you're like Leonardo DiCaprio or some shit. Like.
Touche.
Yeah, right.
All right, so you
Yeah,
take the
so
gun.
the handgun to shoot myself in the face
That's a
because
fair
I
answer.
don't think that's going well either way.
I like it. You stay true to your passion and your MO, man, because you're like, I don't want to kill the sharks. Sharks are friendly, so fuck it. I'll kill myself. I'll take one for the team.
Yeah, dude, I've met like quite a few people, obviously in the line of work that I'm in, that have been pretty badly bitten by
Yeah.
sharks. Like, dude, like
Have you ever
one of
been
my
bitten?
mates,
That's one thing we didn't ask.
dude. No. I've like have scars from shark teeth, but that's just me putting myself in stupid situations. I've never
Yeah.
had a shark like actively try to like attack me or anything like that. Never, dude. Sharks are actually super chilled. If they weren't, I wouldn't be here. Like,
And-
I'm a walking testament to actually just being like, guys, dude, sharks are not out there to kill you.
To-
But dude, I know I've got quite a few friends that love sharks and are sharks advocates that have been fucked up by
Yeah.
sharks. Like, dude, my one friend I was shooting a documentary with in New Zealand, super chilled guy. I remember one day, he never even told me about it, dude. We're filming sharks, white sharks, mad, it's New Zealand. And he takes off his wetsuit, dude, and he's a tall guy, and his whole body is just like
Holy
one big
shit.
bite. And I'm like, oh, snap. Like, what? And
He's got
dude,
a
all
story
these
to tell.
people, dude, and that's what you said, Nana. Like, these people are still advocates for
Yeah.
sharks. It's not
That's
like they
awesome.
turned around and said, like, now kill all the sharks or whatever. They understand. And I think people need to understand that as well. Like these shark nets and all that stuff. We're in their territory.
Yeah.
I think we should take those shark nets away altogether. Like when you go on a safari, right? And you get out of your car and you get chowed by the lion, it's your fault.
Yeah.
But now when
100%.
or if you're swimming in a river somewhere in Africa and you get chowed by a crocodile, it's your fault because you know there's crocodiles. But now people go into the ocean and occasionally get misidentified or bitten by a shark. And then everybody's like, the sharks are killers. It's the shark's
Yeah.
fault. Why is it? It's your fault, bro.
Yeah.
It's you run a risk. And oftentimes when surfers get bitten, it's also a mistaken identity. I mean, obviously, I don't believe it always is, and I'm the only guy that will say that. But dude, if a shark comes off a 9-month migration from swimming from fucking Australia to South Africa, and he's hungry, like occasionally,
Especially
I'm sure
when
that
all
they
his,
do.
food's
I
being
don't know
taken.
if I should be saying this online, but dude, we have to be realists as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You are real, but 99.9% of the time, it's a surfing situation. The sharks are cruising shallow. They can sense that there's something there. They don't have hands. They can't, like, they can sense that there's something there moving through the waves. So, dude, how do they taste? And that's why most people will survive a shark bite, because it's a test why the shark will bite. And most of the time, luckily for the humans, the shark will swim off.
Yeah.
But imagine a 4-meter white shark, dude. If that thing bites you, even if it swims away, dude, it's a lot of damage.
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
You're pretty much, dude, if you don't die from blood loss or shock, like, I don't even know. Like, wow.
Yeah.
I gotta ask Kevin before you answer the would you rather, because I gotta know, because you said you haven't actually been bitten by a shark or something like that. Like, how many hours have you spent in the water roughly, like, to show how like crazy of a stat that is, that you play around with these sharks, you do crazy things with the sharks, and yet you still haven't like gotten that bite? Like, how many hours do you think you put in there?
Dude, I have a lot of diving under my belt. I've been diving since I was 4, dude. So I've spent
Okay.
thousands and thousands and thousands of hours in the water. I mean,
Yeah.
I breathe. I called a mate of mine before this cast now, and there haven't been waves for a while, and I'm like, dude, my body is literally getting withdrawals from
It's drying up.
if I don't go into the ocean. So, dude, thousands of hours, and
Yeah.
also working so much with sharks, not only filming sharks, but also diving with all types of animals, working with all types of animals. None of them seem to have this malicious thing. I once got bitten by this asshole seal that bit straight through my arm, but I could understand. Like, I was running at him. He was on an island, and he had a net around him, and he's huge, bro. The Cape fur seals here get 350 kgs. They get massive, the males. But dude, for 3 weeks, the government won't allow us to do it. But I'm like, dude, I drive a boat past there every day, and you see this thing dying of hunger because it's got this net around it. And so one day I'm just like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go cut this net off. And luckily this thing was weak. Otherwise it would have killed me. So I'm like this little dude running at it with a knife. So obviously it bit me. That's why it bit me. But I still think it's an asshole because I was trying to help it. But so while watching, I can tell you guys a story. It's actually funny. So those life-saving paracord bracelets that actually saved my life that day, because I'm running to the seal, and as I grab it, it bites straight through my arm on the one side, and the other tooth gets trapped in that like paracord bracelet. So I didn't use it to save my life with a paracord, but it saved because then it couldn't lock in and twist. It was only one tooth. So boom, obviously. I'm like, what? Knock it out. It gives me just enough time to get on this thing's back. And now the whaleboat with like tourists are coming to look at the seals. But meanwhile, I'm like riding this thing like a horse on the island, trying to get it down and cutting this thing. And I remember at the end of it, both of us were just like lying there. I had this stupid little knife, but I got the net off. And yeah, man.
That's
It's
awesome,
just, dude, there's no shortage of fur seals, but there's a way in which you kill things as well, which I like, or not in which you kill things. It's a way things die. Like, you can't watch something starve. Like, that's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough to me. Like, so even though our South African, they're not gonna watch this podcast, man.
Yeah.
But dude, so even though they say we can't do it or whatever, if you're watching, they're not the ones watching something slowly starve to death at the end of the day. So I was successful there.
Yeah.
But he was still an asshole for biting me. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to help.
And how many people in the world have taken a little ride on a fur seal anyways, You gotta be one of the only ones.
And I'm just like, dude, afterwards, so the whaleboat's there and my arm is bleeding out. Like, dude, I move my fingers and I see my tendons like this, but I can't really go anywhere because now I have to hide because they can't really point, and like, that's one of our crew members just like running around on the island full of seals. So I like, while this is happening, I just have to hide until they leave, and then I could eventually get off the island back to my little boat.
Holy shit, man. That's crazy. Kevin, you got an answer for Would You Rather, bro? Like, are you fighting the shark, man?
No, hell no, man. I'll try with the bear, but like he said, I don't think I'm gonna be successful either way.
Yo, I just know, like,
I might try the bow to the neck, for me. I feel like it might be a
shoot it up in the air and just say, all right, let's see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, well, you don't necessarily need to, like, you can do some Legolas shit. Like Lord of the Rings, Legolas shit, and just stab.
Yeah.
Well, you can stab yourself with the arrow.
I'm just not a great swimmer. Or
would you take your chances with the bear? I don't necessarily, like, why is this bear so pissed at me in the first place?
You sound like our buddy Chase. Chase always asks the follow-up questions where he's like, well, why is he mad at me? Like, did I do something to provoke this? This changes my answer. Like, yeah, you
because
pissed
if
on the
he's
guy's
just
head.
mad at me for nothing, I might go toe-to-toe with this bear. I'll be like, yo, bro.
Yeah,
like,
I chose.
You're pissed off at absolutely nothing. I'm not going to sacrifice myself because you have a complex like running about your brain. Like, let's fight, bro. Let's fight. Let's go.
Let's get this over with.
Come on. Yeah. I was taking the bear only because I might be able to run around him. Like, I might be able to do something. I can't do anything with swimming. I can't dive, dart. No. Like, there's nothing I can do. I'm not moving.
And this is such a misconception. No one can.
Yeah.
Like, I always tell people always, this is a question obviously I get so much, is what do you do if a shark attacks you? Dude, people obviously say fucking punch it in the... Dude, there is literally nothing you can do. If a shark decides that it wants to, it's by mercy that they don't like go for us. Because if that shark decides, like, dude, there's literally nothing you can do. So
just
that
get
in
out of the
itself
water,
is such a powerful statement.
Yeah.
Like, if it's, and people always say, like, should I swim away? Should I lie still or whatever? if a shark decides that it wants to eat you, it'll eat you.
Yeah.
Bro. Like you're in the water. There's nothing you can do, man.
Damn.
know.
Like,
Your chances are better with a bear at the end of the day.
oh, and I think anything out of the water, you're better off. Like you said, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, that's crazy, man. So before we wrap it up and stuff like that, man, is there what's your like next project, man? Because I know that we talked about a few yesterday, and I know we can't talk about some of them, which are incredibly awesome, by the way. I hope it all works out, and I know everyone's
I need those stickers.
yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah. And I'm
Those
gonna get your address, and I'm gonna send you all the stuff, a little goodie
Awesome.
package. But like, what are some projects you got going on in the future that might actually I don't either hit TV, hit YouTube, or hit whatever you want to say, like for people.
Dude, well, so how I work is I always come up with questions that I want to answer.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And I'm not going to tell you guys too much because you guys will see. I think we're going to have a busy 2021.
Nice.
Because I've got a couple of questions that I want to answer, and I always answer them in radical ways, and I've got some cool ideas. But one thing that I can tell you guys that I will actively work on, and this is something that I feel really passionate about, is I want to somehow find a way to start taking fans,
Yeah.
like true people, like making people's dreams come true by just letting them join, man.
Yeah.
It can't be that difficult. So that is something that I really want to focus on now. I've got a couple of cool shows lined up and a cool inventions that I hope, like, dude, I never get a chance to test these things before the film crews come or
Yeah.
whatever. Like, I'm just always like, that sounds like a good idea theoretically, and then sometimes it sinks when I put it into the water, and then got like 24 hours to make it work, and so it's always crazy. But I've got some cool stuff with questions that I want to answer. I don't want to go too deep into that, but dude, really taking some fans out there, and Kevin and Jason, like, you guys will definitely keep in touch, and I want to. Kevin, especially you, man. I know you really dig sharks, so we'll definitely get you done.
yeah.
But dude, like, you really like sharks, so it would change your life.
Yeah.
And there's thousands of
100%.
people like you, and it would be a story that they can tell forever. And it's such a simple act, really. So I'm trying to figure out a way to make this dream come true for a lot of people.
Yeah, my dream is just it's not. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, to be, like next to such a crazy predator like that, just to be in the presence of, such a beautiful creature like that, and the fact that it's so massive, and that's like I think about it all the time. I've literally, and I'm not joking when I say this, I've had reoccurring dreams about me being in a shark cage. Like, just as the big shark passes by.
And these are dreams, not nightmares, right? Like, these are just like,
Yeah,
this is
these
a
are
good
dreams.
dream.
Good
Good
dreams.
That's what I
dream.
Cool
want.
dreams,
Yeah. I mean,
Those type of dreams where you wake up and you're like, damn, why did I
wake up? Let's go back to sleep. Go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Dude, sometimes you do tap into that same dream. Have you guys had that?
Yeah.
Am I the only
for
one
sure.
that has had that? Like, sometimes you go back to sleep and then you like continue on the dream that you just had.
Oh, yeah, it's
For
like
better
chapter
or worse.
13.
It happens with nightmares as well, which is pretty good.
Yeah,
but at that time,
those
you
are the
can't
worst
wake up.
ones, bro. When you're like, please don't go back. Like, think like cookies, happiness, like, I don't know, sex. And then it's like, this is what I'm thinking about. And then I'm right back into the nightmare. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, dude. And if that happens the second time, I'm up. I'm like, dude, I'm out.
I don't want to deal with
You know
this.
what I mean? But
Um,
yo, bro, what I have to say about that is you'll see once you confront the shark, it's exactly like that, dude. It's a fierce elegance. They demand so much respect, and you're basically in awe when you see them. A lot of people come to us here in South Africa with the shark cage diving. Thousands of people, dude. Thousands of people where they come with this fear of sharks and they leave with just this respect for it. No longer a fear, because you'll see there's nothing to fear. These animals just demand their own type of respect, and
For sure.
That's awesome.
So everybody, guys, Google Dickie Chivell. Just Google
Just
it, put it
Google
on
it, yeah.
Instagram, put it on YouTube. That's all you have to do, and I promise you this badass will pop up like a mofo. It'll be all over. Just watch some of them. There's a badass clip that someone put together in 2018 where it's like best of Dickie Chivell.
Yeah.
Like, that was fun, man.
It was.
Like, yeah, we've talked about how badass you are and crazy you are, but you are an intelligent and you're doing awesome shit, man. And I know you're incredibly busy. You're flying out like in a couple days. You're all over the country, so I know Kevin and I appreciate
So
the shit
much.
out of you taking the time and spending like the hour with us, dude.
Dude, I really appreciate the fact that you had me on. As I said, this was my first podcast. My podcast generally is now broken,
Yeah.
and who better
It's
to do
gone.
it with than you guys? You guys made me feel so comfortable, and I'm nervous about stuff like this. I never
Yeah.
do stuff like this, so I really just want to say from my side, thank you guys very much for allowing me to come on, and I hope it's a good podcast. I
Oh,
don't
hell
really
yeah,
know
bro.
what to gauge it on, but I hope it's entertaining for everybody, and I hope you guys learn a little something or just enjoy it. So thank you guys, dude. It's awesome.
No,
For sure.
thank you.
Thanks, dude, man. I
so
appreciate
much,
it, bro.
Dickie.